point to have it be one, so I made free druid.
Yeah.
And basically, I was okay with it.
That's
I
cool.
didn't see anything outstanding one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's not easy doing.
Right there, but that's all.
Yeah.
Now the other one, that's where I had the problem. The one that did the thing called double vision.
Yeah. But that, people gave it, at least a couple gave it a shot, and I was,
Well,
I
yes.
threw mine in there, and hopefully we'll put all of them in our journal, which would be nice. Can you guys hear us? Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Oh, I need to log into
The loser seems to have a few problems with it going in somewhat. I don't know why.
Going into what?
What?
Oh.
No, he doesn't want it published.
Oh, okay. Well then.
But now, of course, published under his name is one thing, and published is another thing.
Well, it's going to go under his name, of course.
So what I told him to do is to get a hold of you because you've got control of that. I don't have control.
I won't put in anything that no one wants put in. I know that Josh, Public Dad, will. So, all right, cool, Dorgum. Like I said, first half hour it's going to be Len, Anna, and me as we're waiting for Luke because he's got to work till 5 p.m. Pacific time. So.
Well, that's only 30.
Exactly, and he's actually going to call in. He's going to stay at work and call in from there.
Yeah, he probably still works at the
military base.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Marine something, but I don't think it's Marine.
It's National Guard, I think. Yeah, or Army. Yeah.
National Guard. He's an officer.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Tim respects that completely, and I imagine Anna does too. Whoops, I missed my cue. Being military, just military. So
at any rate, I'll get myself
go, Jason.
A little bigger than the 8.5 by 11 envelope, and I'll mail him out.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, Casey. Oh.
I thought I had an envelope, but everything I have is one of these things from the post office where you have to spend $7 and something.
Right, yeah, media mail.
I think I just want to send.
Always the kidder, Josh.
Which Josh?
Josh Pop, your friend Josh Pop. You're on Len's hit list, Josh.
No. He has this compulsion to edit.
Yes, he does. He does. He has an itch to edit. He just said, "Oh shit" in chat.
He's working on the Bible second chapter.
Yep.
Yeah, he just apologized again. We're just kidding with you.
I pulled Josh's leg.
Yeah.
That's good. Yep.
That's awesome. You can't turn it off. I know you can't, but sometimes you gotta.
Your volume was a little low, Jay.
Okay, let me check it.
Yeah, it might be a tad low, but yeah.
Let me go and check audio settings here. How about now? Better?
Perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Into Zoom, making the edit. Okay, cool. Well, thank you. Thanks.
So on the second spell, if we're going to talk the spells, on the second spell, it had something to do with an ear.
Yeah, the wizard's ear, yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that somebody could spot the whip. And I thought that if you're going to do that, if you're going through all the trouble with magic, why don't you make it as good as the dog's ear? That's canine sense of hearing.
Yeah.
So I actually encourage him to step it up a little. I don't remember what it's recasted spell. He didn't put limits on it. So it sounded like you cast a spell, an obscure spell. But at the moment you need it. So you read it, you put it in your head, you cast it. Now a year goes by, and it sounds like you can now recast it. No. It should be, something you did in the last 1, 2, 3 days. I could see that memory coming back, and when you apply the recast spell, now you could cast it again. But the wide open door of time, that didn't work for me at all.
That can be misused easily, yes, yeah.
All those prints are coming, guys, from Gamescape 3D. We're getting Bill's a one-man crew right now. Where do you see? If you saw his windmill on Thursday night, that was unbelievable, and you'll see that again this Thursday. But the road systems, especially, and there's one that's not even in that video. It's called the King's Road, and we're gonna have that up within 2 weeks. So that's gonna be awesome. When you see it. So Len, we're gonna really throw some ads out there tonight for the Ask the Experts show. It'll be in the scroller tonight for when you're on, so it'll be exciting. Hopefully everyone's looking forward to tonight. We're really excited. I got my Facebook Messenger up on my phone in case something happens with Luke, but he's contacted me. I sent him something via PDF too, so we're in good shape. What's next? What's next? We're going to throw Jimmy Duffy's great ad out there again. If you didn't see it on Wednesday night, here we go. As this comes, I know it's 5th. Can't have everything.
Oh.
Hey, it's slavers. It's the slave lords, which is great.
I did a slavery thing in, I think where, it was over on the Hold of the Sea Princes. But remember, the Hold of the Sea Princes is really 2 places.
Yep.
It's the islands where all the ships are, but then there's land in the background, and that's where the slaves were.
Yep. Awesome. All right, so like I said, we all got to bear with us for a half hour. You're gonna have to listen to Len Anime babble about stuff here. So that's your penance as Luke comes on. But we're gonna talk about some good stuff because things are only positive here. So, and plus I'll be setting up the giveaways.
Well, I've got a couple of Kickstarters that are going to
They're going to hit shortly.
Stuff, and I'll give some of that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Everything's courtesy tonight of our fantastic sponsor, Troll Lord Games, and just like with Jim Ward's, he had publications with him. So does Luke. Luke has two very good publications, and they're showing right now Lost City of Gaxmore, which is a large hardback book, and Under Caverns of Gaxmore, which is more of a module. And we're going to give away, for subs, we're going to give away 2 hard copies with shipping from Troll Lord, and then 2 digital for general giveaways. So there's 4 giveaways tonight. Plus you can use that 15% off. Yeah.
I vaguely know that the Gygax brothers could only get out 6 editions of Gygax magazine, and still pay more on it.
Yeah. We have a couple of them linked up tonight because I saw, Leonard, you had Lehman's. You had Lehman, not Tiny Hut, but you had Lehman's Secure Shelter. Yes, I saw that in there as well.
Yeah, I think I did 4 or 5 of them.
Awesome. All right, here we come. I got to keep on looking up. I got to look up like every 10 seconds tonight. Looking up for him to log on. So, Good evening. Hopefully you're as excited as we are. I'm J.K. Lord Gazumba, and I got the legendary Leonard Lakofka with me and the great Anna Meyer with me for the time being. And they'll be on when Luke's on, and hopefully Leonard can hang out for a little bit. I know Leonard and Luke want to chat, which is great. This is a very exciting night, and I want to apologize one more time to those who the GM's Roundtable was supposed to be tonight and were kind enough, and that's the Greyhawk Reborn people, Amy Crittenden, Renee Ayala, William Henry Dvorak. I bumped them 2 weeks back for this. With the wildfires, everyone knows Luke is working right till 5 Western or 5 Pacific time, and he's going to call in right from where
What
he's
edition
working.
are they going to be DMing in?
So what edition is everyone going to be DMing in? Man,
No, I mean, can it be multiple editions?
yeah, the roundtable discussion is the general discussion. This will be the 6th one we've had, and the Greyhawk Reborn, I think, are doing 5th.
Yeah.
Amy does a little 5th. But I do first. Anna does Pathfinder. All right. Carlos Slicing does 1E. Blue
I
Box
bet we have
does
someone who's even
3.5.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got a large amount of different people doing different editions. So I don't think there's any 4th edition DMs at all in that, but we have we have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 5th Pathfinder,
Yeah.
and we have an OD&D
Yeah.
during GalCon. Scott Casper's running original for his Showcanth game. So all right, so I figured out something after 2 years, okay, and that was how to link in this to so I can do all this fun stuff here and get this up. But first things first, as we're waiting for Luke to come on. All right, Len, why don't you? And why do I have to do? Oh, that's my fault here. One sec, hit the wrong button. I love those covers. Okay, so Len, why don't you talk about the contest for spells and how it went?
Well, can you put up the, no,
I can't, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would have if I didn't have my son's soccer game today.
okay.
But we can discuss
Okay,
them. So
I can do a brief
yes,
comment.
that sounds good.
Uh, the winner is Jason Jacobson.
Puppet
And he
Dad.
produced 3 spells that I think are pretty much right on mark. In other words, it's a 1st level druid spell, a 2nd level druid spell, and a 3rd level druid spell, which is exactly what I asked for the contest to do. Now he said that 1 or 2 could also be cast. 1 could be cast also by a magic user, 1 could be cast also by a cleric. But I just took that out because my goal was to have all 3 be the same class. So he did a thunderclap, which is literally you have a cloud up in the sky and you get it to give a nice rumbling thunder boom. And there's no lightning involved. There's no damage from it. But it sure as hell can be heard over a long distance. So you can use it as a signaling device to the allies who know to listen for it. But you can also scare somebody. And I didn't, and he didn't quantify that. In other words, we didn't do it as if it were a fear spell. We didn't do that, but just say it shakes up the opposition. And the basically the dumber they are, the more likely they might think, well, oh my God, there's thunder from just that one little cloud, oh my God, maybe we should run away. So that was his first.
It's kind of like a Phantasmal Force almost effect where it's the DM's discretion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has, it does nothing but sound.
Okay.
It does nothing but sound, but it does it loudly, as if you heard a nice big boom. But I like the fact that somebody a mile away, 2 miles away could hear it. So you could also use it as a signal.
Yeah.
I'm in position now, boom. You could do that sort of thing.
Awesome.
Then he did a heat water spell. He put in quantities of water that he could do. And it's heating water without having a fire or anything of that ilk. You just point at the water and slowly but surely it starts to boil. And you can do various things with that. And then he's got a reverse where you can cool water to the point where it freezes. So those don't really have attack components in the classic sense, unless you can get somebody inside of water and start heating the water the person's in. Now, at that point in time, I think you get a saving throw. And the saving throw would negate the heating period, just boom, as if it didn't happen. Because otherwise that would get pretty ugly. And then he's got a spell called Premonition. And he had it listed as clerical, but I insisted that it has to be druidical as well. And so I made it druidical. And it's a smidge like augury, not the same, but a smidge like augury. You feel something's about to happen, but you're not sure what. But it puts you on tippy toes. You know, now you're looking, you're listening, but you don't know what's coming. And it doesn't go in to saying, well, this is what's about to happen. It doesn't do that. It just says, it gives you a feeling, which causes you to be able, of course, to say to the group too, put a arrow in your bow and crank up your heavy crossbow, et cetera, something is going to go wrong. I don't know exactly what. So I thought those were all three reasonable spells.
Awesome.
So I gave him the prize, and I'm going to mail it in a day or two.
Because, let's be honest, Len didn't like my spells. I'm just kidding. I'm glad. This is it. We want to spur on some action, but yeah, let's talk about the other. I will share all mine.
We're not mentioning the name of the other person.
Okay.
And I promised him that I would not do that. But at any rate, we had the very first spell was called Double Vision, which produces an effect in your eyes where you can't quite focus well. And at first glance, that looks okay, but he put in a saving throw, none. So my comment to him on that was, well, isn't there a difference between a man-at-arms and a 20th level lord? Shouldn't you do something for the guy who's got some levels under his belt and or is fairly intelligent and or wise? Do something for them, because I can understand you blurring the vision of goblins and orcs and you only get one target. But not this stuff about no saving throw. The no saving throw throws it into a whole nother realm.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It almost makes it like a fourth level spell, because you can use that against somebody who's relatively powerful. And if you can't focus your eyes, you're going to have a miserable time firing a bow, firing your crossbow, throwing a dagger, any of that stuff. That's going to get screwed up. And you're probably going to have a little trouble in targeting your spells too. So based on all of that, I said, you can't do this without some kind of saving throw. And I based it on intelligence and also on level. So that if somebody gets to be a relatively decent level, they're either immune to it or they get a saving throw or a bonus to a saving throw on top of it. So I based that on intelligence, wisdom, and level. Then he did second spell, Wizard Ear. And this is, it's similar, in one respect, it's similar to Wizard Eye. You set this ear out to go searching and listening for stuff. And he said casting time was a turn. I said, well, no, that's really big. Make it some number of segments. There's no reason why it should take that long. And then the duration, he did only one round per level. Well, that makes it almost it makes it very difficult to use. If you're only going 20 feet and you've only got one round per your real level,
Still like up.
it becomes pretty useless pretty fast. But I also, he put in that you can hear noises and listen at doors like a thief. And I thought, well, no, the thief discerns noises. He doesn't just hear a noise, he translates it into something that he has heard before. Footsteps, voices, whatever it happens to be. So he has a trained ear, which you don't have. And Wizard Ear isn't going to give it to you. But I did suggest that he take the ear and make it that of a canine, so he really gets something for it. So basically the spell, I thought, had a few things that could be flipped around one way or the other. And then his third one was the ability to recast the spell you had already cast. But
it's kind of like Rary's Mnemonic Enhancer, isn't it?
I don't know that. Rary's Mnemonic Enhancer is it takes your actual capacity and shifts it out by one, I think. This is a case where you cast a spell, and now you're going to recall it and cast it again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a spell you already know. It's a spell you've already cast. But what he didn't do was put in a time frame. So I'm saying to him, let's say you cast some spell like jump for a good reason at the time you did. And now a year goes by. You sure as hell ain't going to go back and recall a spell that you did a year ago. that okay. Becomes too strong, too powerful. So I suggested with the recast. And then he said first and second level spells. And I said, well, why don't you do first level at a certain limit, and then after you get to 9th level, now you start picking up second level spells. So I broke it that way, and then I said I would see the time frame being somewhere between 1 to 3 days of casting, as opposed to completely open-ended. Because as soon as you make it open-ended, it's not a third level spell anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's significantly better than a third level spell. So that's my joy and happiness with context. But at least I got 3 people, including yourself.
Yes.
To send me spells.
I'll go over mine real quick. All right. So if you all know, one of the first streams I ever done was the pirate Shannon Maynham out of Hardby, and her nickname is Knuckle Paler because she's a ex-noble. She likes taking her dagger and putting it through the knuckles of victims. So she's just, yes. Yeah, like that, Len? So,
well, if you're held or you're tied up, you're stuck.
Exactly.
Now suddenly hit location becomes a real thing.
Yeah.
It's not like we're having this argument about caltrops. I don't know if any of you run across that, either of you.
Yeah.
They're saying, well, the caltrop as written screws up your movement.
Oh, yeah. It's bad.
My argument is, well, then why doesn't a sword?
Right.
Yeah, because why should this one weapon be single out?
I like it just does 1 to 4 damage if you run through it. Just a minimum amount of damage. Yeah. We agree there.
Because AD&D is not hit location.
Yeah, definitely.
And
so here
argument I've had so many times I've lost track of how many times.
Yeah, Luke may be eating at his desk, so we'll see. And but I've been in contact with him via email and Facebook Messenger. Everything's good. We got all checks. We're good here. So the first spell was called Sail by the Stars. I did, and that was basically it's going to point you to north on a certain percent. Even in the daytime, there's a percentage. It's a much higher percent if it's nighttime, and it increases. And that was a first level spell. Second level spell is called Chain Shot Attack, where like out of the cannons you shoot chains to knock down sails. Len said you got to make it when when the spell goes up, one chain with the length increases, not multiple chains. So I made that change, and that's to take out sails and not do massive damage to a ship you're trying to capture, or as a pirate overtake, as opposed to a fireball, which is 3rd level and can obliterate it, the mast and everything. The last one was ship buoyancy, and that's to allow a ship not to sink. It has damage in certain places for a temporary patch. Basically, the mage cast. These are all magic user spells. So I'm going to utilize them. Len made some edits to them, and I'm going to keep those edits in. And, I had fun doing it. So I'm glad Josh won. That's awesome. So definitely, what's Josh getting, by the way?
He is getting a J.R.R. Tolkien magazine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Granted, it came out from a commercial source, but it's got a lot of pictures from the various movies, along with the some history on who does what and what have you. And I think it's worth it in the sense of being a good marker of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit series.
Awesome.
So it seemed to be a reasonable.
Yeah, definitely, and just bragging rights too for Josh. So on that note, Josh is Puppet Dad, and his son is watching. I think he's got a game tonight. Is in with the Grog Talk gentlemen and Grog Con, and let me hop up the hype. Let me just hop up the choo choo here. Boom! Thank you for the hype train, everyone. I really appreciate it. We got a choo choo from the hype train. Always a good thing. So we added a new event now. It's kind of already closed out, but I'm going to look. I can put this up here and show it. But Grog Talk, we actually will have them on, and they will be. It will be on actually Facebook, not Facebook. Oh my God, YouTube Live, right? So I got to find it here. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. The Tomb of Stonefist the Terrible. Okay, here it is. It'll actually stream on Grog Talk's channel. Dan Gormansky will be, I think both of the gentlemen will be DMing it, but I just want to highlight some stuff while we're waiting for Luke and Virtual Grail Con, and that will be Saturday. It's in a conflict with the ever mysterious Tim's, but it's okay. I think we'll have different audiences for it. But just please note that we have had a lot of events added. We're like over 60, and we're up to over 175 signups. So thank you, really appreciate it. I wanted to just highlight a couple of them real quick that I think aren't getting the love they deserve. How's that sound? What do you think, Anna?
Yeah.
All right. So if we go on here, and please just note, I'm trying to promote, and I got the big ones up scrolling for the big events with everyone who's participating. So there's Greyhawks Ask the Experts. That's the last show. It's in this time slot in 3 weeks from today. The Gabbin and Leonard's on it. Gary Julian, Alan Grodog Growy, and Dennis Malden Tetro. Maybe one more. Yeah. Oh, Jason, I'm producing Tim's. I told the Grog Talk gents I can't watch yours because I'm already producing your event. So definitely, it's good. But it's good to see we're getting participation from outside the Grail community now. Always a good thing. All right, a couple here. So we have Temple of the Nightbringers here. We got no signups for this. But this is by Moondog, who's a huge Troller Games aficionado. So. And he's using Fantasy Grounds in 5e. This is Friday at noon. So I would suggest some people taking a look at this one. Tribe of Goblins are raiding travelers on the long road, and our heroes decide to help. There you go. Sounds like a pretty cool one. That's Temple of the Nightbringers, first level adventure. If you're interested, there you go. That's one that has no sign-ups yet. I want to show this gentleman should have more than he's got 2 events and he's got 1 sign up for 2 events. He's going to be on our DM's Roundtable in 2 weeks. Okay, and that's Renee Ayala Settembrini, if you know him on Discord. This is called a coronation celebration. It sounds really cool. In 586, the citizens of the Kingdom of Niron witnessed the coronation of Crown Prince Lewin Neron. And so it's a 4-hour adventure. The intrigue sounds pretty neat on it.
Is that before or after the wars?
586 is post, right? Because
Oh,
war's 581. Yeah, so this is post. A lot of people aren't old timers like you and me, Len and Anna. You know what I mean? So yeah. Oh, he's former living Greyhawk. Absolutely. Which triad is he? He's not Zeef, is he? Is he Nyrond? Casey, so this is a living Greyhawk triad. He's got one sign up for 2 of his events, guys and gals. Come on, let's get a little more love there. So, where is he? Canadian, what are you saying? Hello to Choo Choo. There we go. Let me go to his other one. Okay, that's a coronation celebration. This one has 1 sign up, and look at that. We're on 7 pages of events now. Rivalry and treachery. In the city of Greyhawk, the Royal Opera House and the Grand Theater are well-known rivals, and occasionally scathing accusations are followed by open street brawls. This sounds right up my alley. It's for 3rd-level characters, so and that's rivalry and treachery. So take a look at that one. Yeah, listen to Jason. What wars? You know, so I'll say this. Yeah, that's awesome, Kenny. A lot of people are signed up, but I know there's a couple here. I want to give anyone who gave us the courtesy of signing up to run something, especially DM. I appreciate it. I just want to help. I want to help get some signups and get all these games filled. I'll say this: we have 15 signups for Greyhawk Reborn. 13 are sold out, and 2 are almost sold out. That's insane. So thank you, Greyhawk Reborn, that is fantastic. So that's another one. Our good friend Amy Crittenden, I gotta find this one. She has the same game set up twice, and once she had set in a separate system for Hero System. I'm looking up, still looking. I'll keep on looking for Luke. The Fountain. Her first game is sold out. The second one has none on it. Okay, she switched this one over to 5e for more interest. So she's going to run this a second time, and this one will be run Saturday 12 noon. Okay, so a strange whistling noise breaks through the air at odd hours of the day and night. Lord Mayor Pugnance Dillip has put a call for someone to solve the mystery of this noise. Explore the hidden city of Neil Dra. There you go, right there, Neil Dra and Keeland, right? And its famed hanging gardens as you attempt to locate the source of the annoying sound. That sounds pretty cool. So, hey, Geek and everyone else, no signups for that one. All right, and this is the one for the European players. We have a highlighted stream. Skagif's The Icons of Old Red. Join DM Skagith as he takes a hearty band through a search of the lost icons from the Temple of Procan within the walled city of Old Red. Characters of 3rd level will be provided. He's got 1 sign up for this. This one will be streamed Sunday morning. And Skagith, everyone knows he's a great guy. And you won't have to play a monk in that game because there won't be any monks.
Okay, that's good.
Because Skagith hates monks. So there you go. Hey, what's up there, Longital? It's good to see you, man. Rich. Like I said, we almost got 150 people on, and it's 7:50. Luke, I promise Luke will be on. I'm not BSing anyone here. He's coming, so sit tight, everyone. If you have some time and you're interested, there's some other events on here. The Cameron Scott Henderson, who's like an in-demand DM. His stuff sells out at Gen Con all the time. He's only got 4 signups out of 8 for his improvised Greyhawk adventure. All right, and that is Sunday, 1 p.m. So I hear he's a fantastic DM too. So I would check that one out as well. I want to say one thing though. We have a lot of sold out events. Thank you for the participation. We may have a couple events coming up late that people are going to put in, but So Len, did you ever think we'd have a specific Greyhawk con? Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense because all of the work that Gary put into doing the world of Greyhawk is just outstanding, and it's very hard to find another world that competes in all of the detail. You know, he takes you from one end of the map to the other end of the map
Yeah.
along with the history of how you got there. Now, it's very rare to find somebody who's going to go through all of that. He did an insane amount of work. And to this day, you can go in and go to virtually any country and say, oh, here's a road going here. Or if you're using Darlene's map, there are no roads, but if you're using Anna's map, there are roads.
Zing! He got that zinging. Oh, so Len, I want.
But wait. In defense of that, Gygax's map, which I've sent to the two of you.
Yes.
Gygax's map didn't have any roads in the lead.
Yeah.
So, her not putting in roads is not her fault.
No, that was part of the and she did it for commission too. That means that you do what the person giving you the commission tells you to do. So that's the case. Yeah.
So Len, tell us the experience you had with Anna on Zoom when you were trying to make the changes in Axewood.
Oh, we did.
Oh, she did all the work.
Yeah, I know, but
yeah,
I
but it
just
was
sat there and was transfixed at how wonderfully she moved from level A to B to C to D to E to Z double Y. It
Well,
was
you guided me and told me
pretty much. Well,
yeah.
you know, it's like a concert pianist. You know what the hell you're doing, and here I'm
Thank
trying
you.
to go and play chopstick.
Yeah, but the cool
So
thing was that you
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
You
It
reiterated
looks
the
like
story
magic
and
to
stuff.
me.
So yeah,
But you're conversing, completely conversing. So
thank you. Yeah. But that was so much fun because you told the story and what the adventure was about and stuff like that. And I kind of guessed first, and then I told you, "Is this the good?" And then you said, "No, we do move it a little bit that way, and we need to Okay, that's the story, so we need to have it this way." And that was
yeah, that was
that's
the
how
wood
you do
elves
good
and the
maps.
Axewood
Yeah.
yeah.
and the Ents.
Mm-hmm.
The Ents.
Yep.
I haven't rung in the idea of this is going back to Tolkien. Well, the Entwives, which they were out searching for. And Gygax kind of danced around the fact that there might be female tree ents.
Yeah.
I don't think he mentioned it one way or the other.
They look for the Entwives. The
That
Entwives.
Pete Jackson added in the story just for because they were never mentioned or yeah, I can't remember.
In Tolkien, Treebeard says, if you to the hobbits at the end, if you find or see the Entwives, tell them we're looking for them.
Yeah,
because they left in like the Second Age or something, and they never were seen from again. That's supposedly, if I recall. If I got that story wrong, please let me know, everyone out there. But I think I have it correctly. And by the way, I want to say congrats to us all. And thank you, but congrats to us all for such, this. I think this con in a couple weeks is going to be a fun time, and it's going to be all of ours, and that's what it's meant to be.
And I give you I may have done this before, but I don't think I did, a completely artificial house rule.
Sure.
Utterly.
That's fine, yeah.
Now, this is totally artificial, but boy, does it make adjudicating easy. Here we go. You're casting a spell. You cast the spell at the beginning of the first segment that your initiative allows you to go at. So if you roll initiative of 3, you start at the beginning of 3. And then you go for as many segments as you need to end. So you're going from the beginning of one segment to the end of some number of segments later. Now that seems all straightforward. The rest of it, though, is that all missile fire and all blows land in the middle of segment. So you can always tell if the missile gets there before the spell is finished. You can always tell if the spell went off before the guy unleashed the arrow or the crossbow bolt or threw the spear. So you're dealing with all of that, all blows and physical blows in melee, and you're dealing with all of the missile fire that's going on. And you're handling all of the spells separately. Now, it's really concocted, of course, but it makes adjudication a dream because now you always know if the spell is ruined or if the spell ruins something else happened. You always know. And yes, it's artificial. Right up front, it's completely artificial, but it makes adjudicating a breeze.
See, the one thing, Len, and that's a good point. The one thing about my miniatures game, because we use group initiative because of just the way it works with movement of figures and ranges and things like that, I lose the spell interruption because it's basically the bad guys, or say they win a knit, they go and it's almost a different segment within the round. So I
You
understand.
don't want to hear what I'm going to say next.
Go ahead.
I use individual initiative.
That's okay.
Everything on the board, I roll separate. Everything.
And if I wasn't doing a Twitch stream and it would spread the adventure out because individual initiative, when you have 14 different things on the table, is tough to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You do initiative for all of it.
Yeah.
And now what you do is you play the round by what happens in segment 1 all over the board. What happens in segment 2 all over the board, et cetera, et cetera. And you get into 8, 9, and 10, sometimes because the spell casting takes a long time. And sometimes you get there because there's the second arrow or the third dart. And sometimes the initiative can take you into the next round altogether. Yeah. So if you dice out 13 segments for the 3 darts flying, you can go into the next round and say, oh, the guy throwing that dart he's doing that, but you still can allow him an action because this is an overlap. It went from round 1 into the very beginnings of round 2, and now you give him his round 2 action as well. So
yes,
that does work. It's a lot of work, but what you do is you have the players sit there and you have the players roll with 6-sided dice and put them next to the figure. And then you correct the few where dexterity might come into play. And they know their own stuff. So what they should do is they roll a 5 and they say, my dexterity is, and therefore I'm changing it to. And they have to announce that every time.
Yeah.
I know that it sounds like an impossibility, but group initiative, I think, has a lot of faults to it.
It does have a lot of faults to it, but when you do group initiative, and I'm talking about in a minute, we play a miniature style, and that's why it just works the way that we've done it out there. Yeah, Biofriend, there's software out there to handle individual initiative, but how do I use software when I'm playing a tabletop game? You know, I'm not playing virtual tabletop games are great for that, but I can't. If you've seen my streams, I can't stop what I'm doing. Look, get initiative. It's going to drag the game down. And I think John at Blue Box and I do it, but that's okay. Everyone has their own style. You know, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Absolutely. You know, have your own style of DMing. All right. So real quick. This is Phantom's game, Terror in the Wilds. Rob, you know Phantom's on here now. He's got 3 signups open, Friday, 7 p.m. This is, you're going to stream these, right, Rob? You're working on that, too. And this is, a call has gone out from the local Temple of Fultus, seeking heroes to get to the bottom of it all. There's an issue on the Vespi Forest. Which is perfect. I love the Vespi Forest myself. So there you go. Terror in the Wilds. There's 3 spots left for that. All right. I've not gotten any bad Facebook messages from Luke, so hopefully it'll be on any second now as we're waiting. All right. So tonight, 4 giveaways. Okay. And I'm going to make the requirement that subs, you better be at least lurking if you win. All right. There you go. So if I for the sub drawing. Now, let me show you what they are, and we'll do this before, so we don't have to bog Luke down while he's here. All right, so we got this. Sub-drawing number 1 will be the Gaxmore Large City hardback book, and it's nice. It's thick, it's nice, and that's with free shipping from Troller Games. The general drawing that everyone's signing up for will be for the digital copy of that. Okay? Oh, you can't hear me? I'm down again?
Oh, you're good.
I'm good?
You can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure.
No, you can hear.
I just want to. You are heard. All right. Just want to make sure. All right. Cool. Secondly, the Under Caverns of Gax. These are both by Luke Gygax. The first one was by Luke and Ernie. The Under Caverns of Gaxmore. That will be for subs a hard copy with free shipping, okay, as well. And then for general signups, the digital copy as well. So we'll have four. We'll have four. Not to Canada. With David, you could win the general for the digitals. You could win the digital copies, right? And then if you could win the drawing for the sub, just say I want the digital. I'll give the hard copy to the general signups. It's no big deal. So there you go. So just take the digital copies if you win them as a sub. No problem. Solves the issue. Yeah. So there you go. Absolutely. All right. So wow. Thank you for the support here. No negatives. I'm still looking. I keep on looking up. So I know, Len, hang in there as long as you can, man. I want you and Luke haven't talked.
Well, I'm not going to be on till 8.
Now you unplugged yourself. You unplugged yourself. Oh.
What?
You can't
hear me?
No, Jake.
Oh.
He unplugged himself. Come on.
Ah.
Unplug.
I knocked my headset out.
Oh yeah, when you leaned down,
Yeah.
the cable came flying out of the socket. We could hear
Duh.
it, we could see it. Yep.
All right, so
Yep.
I would love to do individual initiative, but with all the figures I have on the board and maybe a dozen bad guys,
Oh yeah.
10 characters playing, I can't. So, and it works for my guys. So thank you. Sorry for me being an idiot for knocking it out again.
No, it's okay. It's kind of funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
And I don't do I do individual initiative usually if they're only fighting up to like 10 enemies, and more than then I lump some them in under one initiative, all the enemies of some kind, and then important individuals of NPCs and stuff, I give them a separate initiative.
So George, Lexfire, I talk on my hands. You know why? Because I think I said this on an earlier stream. Plus, I got this LED light right here. You see this?
Yeah.
I got an LED circle light, just like my company told me to. Because
you should have the circle light around the camera. That's the idea.
I know, but it won't.
Yeah.
I move this thing so much, I attach it to the side here. They said if you talk with your hands, the information gets relayed better via virtual
you have
conferencing.
To speak like Italians.
I don't know. No, I do not. I have a smidgen of Italian, like 1/16. All right, so still waiting here. Let's just talk about some. Let's talk about some highlighted streams while we're waiting here. So, I want everyone to know I have signed up for Autumn Revel, which is Luke's con the week after. It's up now. Okay, it's in this time slot. It's called World of Greyhawk and the Vibrant Virtual Community. So I put Len and Anna up as guests because I know they'll be on, and then I'm looking for some more guests for that. That'll be the week after on this time slot, and that'll be for Luke's Autumn Revel con, which runs Friday to Monday, the week after Greyhawk Con, second week in October. So yeah, absolutely. All right, let me check my email real quick here. So Len, what else you got going on while we're waiting here? You got to have some ideas and schmidgens of things. So no Luke message.
It was just dawning on me one other thing, when I said you did an individual initiative.
Sure.
If you have like a group of 8 orcs or 8 kobolds, you would roll one initiative roll for all of them. So you don't want to make it impossible. But you still are going to roll that initiative and then compare it to the people on the other side who roll initiative on that same segment.
Yeah.
And I call that the segment of action system. I think I wrote an article in the Dragon about it, I think.
I think you did too. I think you did in Lehman's Tiny Hut too. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill. Bill and Master Crafter's
Some
on.
refer to it as Lehman's Tiny Slut, but that's
not.
Hi, Bill.
Yes, we're still waiting for Luke. He was working till 8, so Still sitting there
10 minutes
waiting.
ago. Yeah.
I've gotten no negatives that he's not, he got held up or something. So, like I said, I keep on looking up.
Is that 8 your time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 8 our
That's-
time. Yeah, he worked. He said he'd be
Yeah.
on.
So it's 5. So
Yep,
it's 10
mhm.
minutes ago.
Yep.
Or
So,
11
So he should be on now.
any minute.
Yeah,
He should be
any
on any
minute.
minute. He should be on
Any moment.
any moment. Once again, 4 giveaways tonight. If you're a sub, you're automatically entered in 2 of them, and those are hardbacks. And then if you're, anyone can generally sign up for this one. If follower or not, you can sign up. But we appreciate a follow as always. Things have been cranking out here. I really I'm appreciative of all the support in the community. If you have a suggestion or something else for Virtual Greyhawk Con, please, you can talk to me. You can talk to Zarathon, Josh Pop. You can talk to Phantom Rob. You can talk to Balfrin. Here comes, it says Game Jesus. I'm thinking that's Luke. I'm going to change this up here. Luke!
Yo!
Hello.
Hi.
Let me get
Welcome.
this off.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Let me move some
Good.
things around.
I made it finally.
Hey, that's okay.
Wonderful.
I wanted to say thank you for your service. I know it must be very difficult right now out there.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's got to be a trying time, and I imagine you're pretty exhausted, and I'm appreciative of you coming on and chatting with us tonight.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just for me, I'm at the headquarters, so it's mostly all the planning and that sort of stuff. So it's I'm not out there doing the hard work, which will be going on this week. We have about 300 folks going out to fight, help Cal Fires, control the fires and that sort of stuff. And
Wow.
but it's been pretty busy since March, with COVID and then some rioting and everything. So it's been the busiest year in California Guard, and probably ever, if not certainly the last 20 years or so.
Just be thankful you're not in Portland.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, they have fires too, and rioting and all sorts of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been like 4 months of rioting or something. It's like 120 some days, right?
Yeah.
It's been absolutely brutal, but the good thing is we have, thanks to your dad, we have this game that we can all do a little getaway with and enjoy our lives and have fun with it. And I'm so very appreciative of when I was a kid, 11, 12 years old, and I got hooked, and it's, I'm in my 50s now, and we've been playing the same campaign for those 40 years. It's been awesome. Len, I know you and Luke haven't chatted in a long time, and I know we don't have you forever, so what would you like to say?
Well, I had made the invite. I never got an answer from you on whether or not you and Anna could come out together, because it would allow me to do a presentation once as opposed to doing it twice.
Oh yeah.
The day will come when I'm going to crap out, and I've heard too many stories about gamers who do in fact crap out without any instructions, and the wife or whoever the significant other is just take the stuff and they throw it away. And I would prefer that not happen. I've got, I don't know if you want to cope with Legos, but I got like 8,000 Legos in the box.
Wow, that too.
Well, you give that to a school. You find a school, you go to a school. They'll go nuts for it. And then I've got a fair number of miniatures left, but when I moved, I probably gave away 800 miniatures then. And, dice and this and that and the other thing. Some things hanging on the walls, swords and daggers and what have you. And I just would like that to go to people who could use it, as opposed to going in the garbage or going to you sell the whole collection to somebody for next to no money.
No money.
Yeah. You've got to have gamers trying to buy or receive stuff that gamers want. Because otherwise, it's like, what the hell am I going to do with a sword?
Yeah.
So maybe down the road.
Sometime after the weather up here changes.
Yeah.
The weather up here in late October, the high temperatures literally drop by almost 20 degrees, the daily temperature. and it generally falls in the October 20th ballpark. But you want to be, it's there and established. And then figure out when can you come out and let me walk you through the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm open almost any time. So it's Luke that has the busy schedule. I can manage my schedule that way. I'm sitting at home working on my.
Well, yeah, you know, the whole corona.
Yeah.
COVID-19 thing, and him being doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
It may be very difficult for him to.
And Luke, you also have double distance. I'm halfway there, so to speak. So from where you live. So yeah.
Yeah, he's coming all the way from Long Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You live in Long Beach, Luke?
I actually live in Calabasas, so it's a long commute, but I just work in Long Beach, so it's still a long drive either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully maybe that can happen. And
yeah, we have to coordinate and make that happen.
Len has been extremely generous. He's been giving away a lot of great, fantastic. He gave away Liam and Satchel, and Amy Crittenden won that on a contest. He's been doing a lot of contests on the shows. We were just talking about his Create 3 Spells contest he just did, and he awarded something to one of our viewers. He's been very generous with a lot of giveaways he's doing, and I think he just wants to make sure his stuff all goes to a worthy home.
Gamers.
Yeah, absolutely. Gamers will use it. So very cool. So Luke, I know there's going to be a ton of questions in the audience. We have a massive audience on tonight. I want to start off by just asking, when you were a kid, this is going to be a crazy generic question. What was your favorite module that got published early? Did you have
early?
one?
Well, I mean, I don't know how early you want to go. I mean, the first one, I think I remember playing clearly was the Giant series. And I played that as Otis the Ranger. But I was pretty young. I mean, I was little when those came out. My favorite one that I played, and I still think it's relatively early, would have been the Lost Caverns of Sajkan.
Yes.
Yeah. So that one was great. I spent, probably like a year and a half of game time, mostly solo adventuring that as Melf and leveling them up as I cleared. I think I went through every room. It was a play test. You know, my dad was play testing it, and there's a lot of new creatures, new magic items, and spells and things. And I also did, in tandem with that, the Forgotten Temple of Thrisden, which was kind of a tandem or side adventure off of that one. So I did a lot of that solo, but also had the great pleasure of playing with Francois Marcelo Freudeval, who is the guy who translated D&D into French and was kind of headed up the that portion, international portion there. He was a great character, nice guy. And then of course the normal gaming group that we had, which consisted of several of the high school guys in the local area that would play with us. And I'm still friends with Sonny Savage, his name is actually Jerry Savage, and he does Savage Creations. Comes to GaryCon, and he makes all sorts of great handicrafts, woodwork, and these great pens, dragon pens and stuff. They're really neat. And he was actually he dated my sister Heidi, of all things, like briefly, but he would come over and pick her up, and it was game night a lot of times. And then when she and him decided, well, we're more friends than anything else, he asked if he could join the game, and that's how I became friends with him. And he actually is the guy who got me to influence me to join the Army. I just had my 31st anniversary in the Army yesterday.
Wow.
He joined the Army, came back and was in the reserves and talked to me, and I was like, well, maybe I'll join, and so the adventure was launched.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Two follow-ups. Is Otis the Otis from Hamlet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was Otis played the role that. What's his? I forgot the guy's name. In the write-up, it's Otis is my brother. Was he Otto or something like that? Anyway, I played that role. I was the man-at-arms who went with the party, but was actually working for the druid in the wood. Yeah, Elmo. Thank you.
Thank you,
Elmo.
Phantom. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Elmo.
Excellent. Blue Box RPG with John Birchfield asks, how old were you when you got to play your dad's table? And was he harder on you as a PC, or did he give you familial assistance?
No, there was no familial assistance. I first started shaking dice that game where I played Otis. I was maybe 4.5, something like that. So
Wow.
I really, I was mostly shaking the dice and say, oh, I want to do this cool thing. And then, to be honest with you, the games would be about halfway through, and my mom would, crawl down the stairs. Luke, it's time for bed. I'm like, no, Mom, come on. It's a good part. And she's like, it's like 8:30. It's past your bedtime. Let's go.
Yep.
And so
Oh.
I would have to go upstairs, teary-eyed, and go to bed. Yeah. But no, then I for an idea of how my dad was he was fair. I mean, he didn't kill my characters without regard. But there was consequences if I goofed. He must have been in a bad mood this one day. My sister Heidi and I bugged him to play some D&D. Might have even been on like a weeknight or something. And so we went into his study. It was probably 1981 or something like that. And he said, "Oh, you guys want to play? Sure, no problem." So I was playing Otis, and Heidi was playing a character named Murfles that she'd made up, and that's a word out of Pop Lollies and Belly Bones. You guys are familiar with that book. My dad got a bunch of names out of there. That's where he got like the word Gundy Gud and High Peak and all those. So it's a great book. You can pick it up.
Funkin' Heidi Peak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's Pop Lollies and Belly Bones. You can still find copies of it, I think, used bookstores and stuff. But it's a pretty cool book. It's funny. Anyway, and we went into this place, and of course, I'd never played this adventure before. We were in the Tomb of Horrors, but I had no clue.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like 11 or something like that, or maybe I was 12 going through the Tomb of Horrors. And poor Otis went through. Gosh, I can't remember which one it is that teleports you back to the beginning, but all your items go to the end. Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. For any of you who aren't familiar with the Tomb of Horrors, but I think everyone has to be at this point.
Yeah.
So that's what happened to him. And then I still continued. I was like, man, I want to get my stuff back. That's a lot of, it's years and years of adventuring. Lose all my stuff. And I ended up in the 10x10 room with the 3 levers, and I pushed them the wrong way, dropped down a 100-foot pit, if I remember right. Took like 80 or 90 points of damage, which wasn't enough to kill my character, but I was at the bottom of the pit with naked and no way to get out. And that was the last time I played Otis. So yeah, so that was pretty rough. So not too many breaks.
Sorry about all the music there. That was 10 gift subs someone just gave. My apologies for all the music over and over again. Are you connected to Twitch, Luke, or are you just Zoom connected?
I'm just Zoom connected.
Okay.
I'm in my office at work, so I just literally took off my blouse and called.
Awesome. We'll just relay questions to you then. No problem. Anna, Len, what do you have a question for Luke?
Well, let's start with Len. So
Yes,
make sure
well,
that
we
you
have
get
Len
as
still.
much- yeah. Mm-hmm.
Len, do you have a question for
Are we
Luke?
waiting for me? No.
Sure. Come
yes.
on. You got Luke here. You gotta have a question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I think I met Luke when he was a very little boy. I think. I certainly
Probably.
didn't hear anything about
330 Center Street, as I remember, right? It was probably, you were around since the early days, and you were for sure at Fox Hollow, because I remember sitting on the sun porch, I think, when you were talking to my dad in the late 70s, probably.
Could be. Was that the one that had the horses?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Your father finally was making money.
Yes.
What a wondrous thing. Because he went for years of doing his hobby and he wasn't making any money doing it. And then all of a sudden the magic grapefruit fell out of the tray and it didn't hit him in the head. I have to dash. It's lunch. It's dinner time.
Luke, I'm sorry.
So,
Len, thank you.
We'll
Thanks
be in touch later.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good talking to you again, Len. Good to see you.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.
Yeah, we usually have Leonard till 8:25 Eastern on Wednesday
Yeah.
nights and
Yep.
Sundays, and then normally he doesn't
Mhm.
even say goodbye. He just snaps right and he's
Yep.
gone.
Yep.
But
Then he leaves.
it's such a pleasure to have Len on, though. He's
Oh
so
yeah, it's
great.
awesome to, yeah.
So Anna, go ahead. Why don't you?
No, I was thinking the early days, was there talk about Greyhawk as a setting, or was it just the adventures and then Greyhawk was kind of developing on the side, or how much was the setting? Was the setting kind of a concept that was integrated early on, or did that come afterwards?
I think by the time I was old enough to think about a setting,
Yeah.
the Gazetteer was out. So obviously
Oh,
it had been
okay,
thought
yeah.
about,
Mhm.
right? Because
Yeah.
that was when did the Gazetteer come out? Was that 80?
79.
Yeah, I think the
79.
first one, the folio was 79. Yeah, I didn't
Yep.
get that, but I got the box setting in
The box
83.
set.
That was it. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, by then I was certainly aware of it, and so the Gazetteer was already out. The little folder soft
Yeah.
cover
Mhm.
thing. So definitely he was thinking about those things and developing it, and it was important.
Yeah.
Initially, I believe it was mostly just about the adventure and kind of, okay, here's some, it developed later.
Yeah.
Because if we think about it, in 73, 74, he's making it and publishing it. The idea was, this is your world.
Yeah.
I am providing you some outlines and some
Mhm.
suggestions
Yeah.
in a way to shape this, but this is going to be your world. And if elves have orange skin and are 7 feet tall, that's your world. That's the way it is. And
Yeah.
you'll make it, you'll interpret those things and make it your own. But then you quickly found financially and also time wise, people didn't always have time to make their own world. It takes a lot of work, right? It's a lot of commitment
Mhm.
to do, and so people, I can't remember who came out with the first module, but it was a great idea, and it wasn't TSR, of course, it was someone else. But they quickly hopped onto that, and when you start making modules, you want to string them together and give a little bit, paint that tapestry, that background
Yeah.
for people. And so it just became fun and something that my dad would do. And I think he really enjoyed that period, as Len said, where he began to make some money and it was growing, and he got to write Advanced Dungeons and Dragons and put some of these refinements on things and have fun naming the pantheon of gods and naming Greyhawk after all his friends and relatives and funny names and stuff, and that process that he got to do, and then playing it. Because we played that. That's the adventures. My home game was playtesting those adventures by and large, or Greyhawk Castle, and that's what we did. So for me, I didn't think about any other world setting other than Greyhawk because that was the home game.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So a question from Gary Julian early on, and he's will be playing with you in that game in a couple weeks. Alaluk. Was that your character, or is that okay?
It was just made up.
Just made up. Okay.
Just made up.
Yeah.
He was an NPC then the whole time. Luke. He wasn't anyone's player character. Okay.
No.
There you go, Gary.
Just not a great name. I love a lot of these names are fantastic. Yep.
Yep.
What other characters?
So I imagine that was my dad being hard up for a name, and he was thinking, "What's Luke's character's name? Otis, and what's Luke's name? Luke."
Okay.
Right. I mean, I never asked him, but it just makes sense that's probably what it was.
What other characters would we know? I know we have Melf, we have Otis, Elmo, that we may know that you played.
That's it, man. That was that's who I played, is Otis and Melf. I play tested the Barbarian class, and I was named Queg the Frusty. That was my character. I only played him up to like 4th or 5th level.
Okay.
But he didn't make it into the big things. But so I play tested the Unearthed Arcana for that. But yeah, no, that's it. Melf was my main character after Otis bit the dust. I made up a fighter magic user and played him through a whole bunch of fun adventures with my dad and many other people. And then I'm drawing a blank here because it's been so many years and I haven't reread it. But the Gord book where Melf makes an appearance in there, and there's Keek the evil. Oh yeah. We actually played that out.
Oh, so Keek and Obme and the dwarf Obme and
nice.
And Melf. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chert was based on a guy named Flint Dilly. I'm sure you probably know of Flint, right? I mean, I don't know if you ever talked to him or not, but if you haven't met Flint, he wrote the Sagard books with my dad. He was a relatively young guy then.
Yeah.
And choose your own path, but he's Flint's movie writer and game designer nowadays and that sort of stuff, but still out here. But that was based on Chert was based on flint. Obviously, Chert is a type of flinty stone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yep.
so that was Flint.
And that was the
but-
Curly Greenleaf, the Ranger Druid character. Was he?
That was my dad. That was actually my dad's character, Curly Greenleaf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he didn't. Yeah, I think he played as an NPC in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Curly Greenleaf was a character my dad would play sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, because they're great character from the Gord books, and
Yep.
it's oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool to know that it was something that was played in game as well, not only something
Yes.
that was written for the book. It was.
That's right. Yes, he
Yeah.
laughed when he tricked me. He got great joy out of it. He's like, you fell for it. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, my dad was fairly competitive, even in the role play style.
I
which
can
think
imagine, yeah, because it's written in the old games, and the old modules are very competitive, but a lot of them were probably written for conventions and stuff too.
Yes.
So to be competitive, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Like, so Tomb of Horrors is obviously not a game you would typically play in a campaign setting, I wouldn't think, because holy smokes, I mean, if you put that much effort into getting to that level,
Yeah.
and you went into something where it's just like, hey, this or you're dead, or if you do this action, just rip up the character sheet.
Yeah.
That would, holy smokes, that'd be traumatic. But it was more for a game, it was for Origins 1, if I remember right, is kind of when it was first created, and they put it out. And it was, I think that was because that was designed with Alan Lucian, I think, was the guy who helped my dad or came up with the idea. My dad fleshed it out for the Origins 1 version. And that was because my dad really, it stuck in his craw to have people writing and saying, hey, we've already slain, Odin and the entire Norse pantheon, and now my 47th level guy went. He's like, what? This Monty Hall game. So he's like, okay, we're gonna make this one where it's not about the stuff you have or the modifiers or that sort of thing. You have to think, and work through these challenges, or else, you won't make it. So yeah, that was.
And it's also and it's also become probably the most iconic adventure, because it's kind of trajectoried through editions, and it become part of mainstay culture almost. Tomb of Horrors become a concept in itself, so to speak.
Yeah, Ready Player One, the book, not the movie, obviously, because it wouldn't translate very well into a movie format, that media. But if you read the book, which was a lot of fun, that plays a central role in it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, Luke, we heard a story a couple of weeks ago when Jim Ward was on about how he put your Mordenkainen through the ringer in the Starship Warden, and how he killed off Mordenkainen multiple times. And he also claimed that your dad coined the phrase Monty Hall for him first. So
that might have been. I don't.
It was so fun when he told it. It was awesome just to hear the story, how kind of an expression that every role-playing gamer knows what Monty Hall is, and it was so fun to hear the story, how it came to be, so to speak. That was fantastic. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, Jim is a great storyteller for sure, and I mean, some of the most fun games I've ever played have been with Jim Ward on Starship Warden. I've survived like twice, but it's just, I have a fantastic time, and then unless you're a really a wise player with luck, then you'll survive. And my dad survived a whole bunch. So he may have gotten, I don't know if he's exaggerating a little bit, but I know at times I've heard him tell my story about how my dad was probably the best, or one of the best players that he's ever gamed with, and that he survived the most. And Ernie also as well. They kind of come from that old tradition where they're very cautious, observant, and
paranoid.
Lucky with their die rolls, which I'm not. I'm terrible. My daughter beat the crap out of me in the old game Shogun. She got some great dice rolls, and I was attacking with some superior forces, and didn't work out. She still got me.
Awesome. Yeah.
A couple questions from the audience. This one's a little bit on style. Do you prefer the competitive DMing style, or what DMing has shifted into more recently, where DMs and players tell the story together, which is more of a 5e thing, or the old school style, or in between?
I can see the merits of both, and it really depends on what your players are into. My go-to, because I grew up gaming this style, is more of a competitive style. So I want the players to really have to work. And I want them to feel like their life is in danger if they, oh my gosh, I want the tension to be high. But I've seen people use the more storytelling method to great effect. So like Deborah Ann Wool is pretty darn good. If you watch her DM, she has a way of kind of piecing together what everyone's doing and then kind of telling, kind of putting it all into into a picture for you. She's like, okay, as this is going on, you're doing this, and she kind of paints and really visualizes it for you, and that can be satisfying. But for me, I think my go-to, if I'm playing AD&D, is going to be competitive. If I'm playing 5th edition, I'm probably still going to be more competitive than a lot of DMs that you see, but I try to put a little bit more of collaborative stuff, and they're like, oh, okay, you got a critical hit, tell me about this, or oh, you're throwing this spell, what does it look like, and and then we can play off that and maybe pull something out of there that's going to influence the situation.
Some other I appreciate that answer. That's right. That's exactly, you have to DM to your players. You won't have a group. You have to know your. And I always say to Anna, and Anna always laughs. I'm lucky that my guys remember what they have for lunch when they get to my house that night. So because we're all so it's just you gotta tailor it to your players. Absolutely. All right, a couple questions here. One, Josh Pop, and we all know Josh.
Oh. Hey, Josh.
Josh is fantastic. Josh is the lead of the group for the tech behind Virtual GrailCon, and I want to say thanks to Josh, thanks to Balfrin, thanks to Rob, Phantom, and the whole crew. You're really helping me out and helping the whole community out. Thank you. Do you DM a little differently for your daughters than your dad did for you?
Yeah, I do. I take it a little easier on them. I'm not that easy. I had them captured. They were going through Gygax more. We don't play nearly as often, and it's hard to wrangle 3 little girls into all wanting to play D&D, to be honest with you. It's tough because my youngest is 7. The oldest is 13. She's down to play a lot, but the other 2 I kind of have to coerce or whatever. So our negotiation was we played Shogun because they were like, oh, I don't want to play. I don't want to role play. So we play Shogun, and then we watched the miniseries as well, or about 6 hours. We still got 3 hours to go, which was a great walk back in time. So I watched that with my dad. But anyway, as an aside, for my daughters, I let them know there's consequences to stuff. It's not all crazy, but I had them. They tried to bluff their way into a goblin, an area with some hobgoblins in there, and they didn't do a very good job of it. So I had them captured, put them in a gladiatorial arena, and they had to fight some various beasts. But then as they were beaten up and it was looking grim for them, I had some of the survivors of Gaxmore burst in through a grate in the ground and hustle them through some underground tunnels and get them out quickly.
Oh, so
they escaped, but they lost their valuables and some of their gear and stuff. So they want to get revenge. So I figured that'd be that's a good motivation.
Yeah. And so you have your daughters, you play test your stuff for them, so it kind of goes on another generation.
I do a little bit of that with them. Yes. Sometimes, but again, they're still pretty young, so it's harder, and they'll cry if I'm too mean.
Oh yeah, you have to start writing a few modules for young gamers. Yeah,
that's true. I'll have to try that out. And I was very proud when my eldest daughter Miriam at GaryCon 10, we talked and we storyboarded a little module out for was it something of Equestria? It's the My Little Pony game. And I was to say, well, do you want to run a game officially? And she was a little too shy to do that, but she did actually sit down and ran a pickup game for another little girl and her sister and this girl's dad, and she ran it and had fun. So that was really neat to see my daughter DM, or game master, I guess in this case. But I got to encourage her to do it and that sort of stuff. There's a lot of distractions for young people these days because there's they love video games. As well as swimming and other stuff, but a lot of video games can be a distractor, and I know how bad it was when I was just a kid playing Atari 2600 or Intellivision or something like that. Sure. Now these games are pretty immersive and pretty good, but I still I like video games, don't get me wrong, but there's nothing like being able to sit down with your group or even using a virtual tabletop. I was not a believer in virtual tabletop until I had to do GaryCon virtually. I kind of had poo-pooed it, and I was wrong. I think it really hits about 90% of the satisfaction level, and it's great. It actually expanded my level of gaming because now I don't have to travel somewhere to play a game. I can just, oh, great, turn on the computer, boom, it's all right here, and makes it very convenient.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for my daughters, it's definitely a little bit different than the way my dad DM'd for me. But it's a different game style too, right? I mean, things evolve, things change. I think if you look at games in general, they tend to be even D&D. You're seeing like 2-hour slots at conventions for 5th edition, right? Some of their Adventurers League stuff is 2-hour slots or 4-hour slots. Back when I was a kid, heck, we'd play all weekend long, right?
Yeah.
You know, Mountain Dew chips, and we'd game for 12 hours.
No cell phones, no internet that can disturb us. So you were sitting somewhere and people have to come bang on the door to find you. So yeah.
Exactly. And now there's so many distractions, and the pace is so fast, and people's attention spans are trained. I hate to sound like, that grumpy old guy or whatever, but I think our attention spans are a little bit less.
Yeah.
And so, for the younger generation, you have to tailor that to them. And honestly, even for, adults, we're subject to be, to change with time and technology and stuff like that as well.
It's definitely an ever-changing world, and 5e fits perfectly for this generation. But some of us can't change our feathers, right, Anna? I
can really enjoy 5e too. I played every edition of the game, and they all have something interesting and something to give, so to speak. So yeah,
I agree with you. I think the edition wars are kind of silly. It's great if you love whatever edition it is, 4th edition, 2nd edition. Great, play it, have fun with your group, but you don't have to jump and trash somebody else's style of having fun. It's a game. If your group is having a good time, go for it.
Yep.
So Luke, Gary Julian asked another question, and it was regarding back with your father. Was your playtesting having a little bit of the campier side with the puns, and then just to make it fun for you, or was it like that was just your dad and he loved? Jason Zavoda asked that question too. Your dad loved puns and puzzles and anagrams and.
Yeah, that was just him. That wasn't just gaming.
Okay.
That was all the time. He loved to tell horrible long jokes, like 20-minute lead up to a terrible pun. So yes, and if you didn't like puns, then he'd want to tell you even more. He got a lot of glee out of that torture.
Excellent. So have you ever played a miniatures tabletop style game, like on a big 8-foot by 8-foot table?
Like chainmail?
Well, what do you think, Anna? I'm trying to figure out.
You see, Jay has one of these game rooms that every gamer just wish they had, so to speak. A whole basement, the whole basement is one big room, and it's full of D&D stuff, meaning that literally thousands of many thousands of miniatures of monsters.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And a huge game table and terrain and stuff to build basically anything in a D&D game. It's just awesome.
My style's a little unique. We play a 1E, 2E, and in our game we will have it'll be all tabletop, and so hopefully you'll have fun with it. And so I wanted to ask this question: if you get a chance, did I go too far with the Son of Melf character?
I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I've been at work. You just sent it today. But
okay.
No, that's cool.
All right, he's a fighter mage. All right, so there you go.
Perfect.
That's So we'll have. You got spell lists are all done. If you want to make any changes, let me know. This is the group for the All-Star game. Luke will be playing, and he can name him if you want to name him Melf Jr., Melf II, or whatever you want to name him. The Son of Melf.
Melfson.
Yes, Melf's son, or as Josh Pop said, Smelf. I was like, oh no.
Son of, I'd like that. Smelf. All right, I think we're gonna go with that.
Look at that. We're gonna go with Smelf. All right, that's awesome. So we'll have a fighter mage. We'll have Anna's ranger mage Imri, which you've seen her in a lot of streams. Sylvan elf female, great character. Gary Julian will be playing a specialty priest of his new deity. You'll see it in Earth Journal, Saint Benedor. It's a great article. Wait till that comes out. Eric Mona went a little crazy and is playing a specialty priest of Ralishez, the guy out of bad luck. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, yes.
I would say that's something for Will. He can compete with Will. Yeah.
Yes, and then Steven Chenault went with a dwarf fighter, so he's going to be your tank. And then
Good.
Chuck Humbo, everyone loves Chuck because Chuck is the comedy relief. Chuck will be playing one of the most hated NPCs in the campaign, Fritz Winchester, the thief, who's just a complete self-preservationist and also worships Ralishez. So we'll see what happens there.
Uh-oh, we're in
Yes.
trouble.
Absolutely, Chuck is the best. I love when Chuck is in my game. So
Yeah.
one more little tidbit. I'm going to have a special guest on my side with me, more than likely. So I have an assistant there, in the days of COVID, and that person will be playing the bad guy. You probably all know this person because he's the craziest, most out there friend of mine I have in my group. So there you go. So if anyone wants to put it in chat who it is, you'll know who it is, and he'll be playing
I
Nassim
guess.
bin Khalifa, the bad guy in that adventure, and it'll be a fun time. 4 hours. I'll make sure it fits into that, and that'll be the highlighted stream on Saturday. So Luke,
Yeah.
Autumn Revel.
Yes, Autumn Revel. So that's coming up fast. It's been a real challenge here. I figured, we're coming up. It's about halfway to GaryCon, and I think that there's problems with, or not problems. I think we could develop and do a better job on the virtual side, or at least with virtual GaryCon and some of the organization, that sort of stuff. So I wanted to be able to test bed a few things and run a little convention. So I said, well, why not add some more gaming? Autumn Revel was the name of a fun convention that TSR did way back in the 70s and early 80s. And they would hold that in the American Legion Hall, if I remember correctly. And I enjoyed that quite a bit. So I said, why not do a little Autumn Revel, be a virtual gaming event? And who knows, if it's a lot of fun, maybe we'll make it into a physical convention, really small, 100, 200 people, something like that, in Lake Geneva when we can gather again, in the future. But one of the things I want to test bed, and I'm still working on it with my friend Matt Everhart is helping me out. I think the gaming part of virtual gaming events is coming together pretty well, right? So we got some people are embracing virtual tabletop, even to the lowest common denominator of doing something like, hey, you're in a Discord room with, using Discord to game, or Zoom. Very easy. That's kind of where I'm at. I was hoping I'd have some more time and maybe be able to jump on Fantasy Grounds or Roll D20 and kind of learn that a little bit better and be able to run. I don't think I'll have that opportunity, but I can still run Zoom games. Where I think we are not doing a great job as like an industry is how do we tie vendors into the virtual gaming events, or in this case with GaryCon, if we have GaryCon, I hope to have a material GaryCon and an ethereal GaryCon, so that there'll be people who are physically there at material GaryCon, and then we'll have the ethereal event where we're all there virtually. So I came up with some ideas, and we're gonna try some of them. And I'm still gathering together some of the vendors that want to do it. I think we'll use a Discord room, and we'll have people go there and click a link to jump into a Zoom call during vendor hall hours, where you can actually talk to the vendor. They can tell you about some of their new game systems. They can maybe have one of the designers in or something, and
that's a great
have
idea.
that opportunity to interact. Because isn't that a really key part of a convention?
That sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
And I'm hoping that will help some of our vendors make up for a little bit of the income that they've lost, because a lot of them are really hurting because they make a lot of their income at these shows and getting out there, and that's how they get. They don't have huge advertising budgets. They're not. Wizards is really the only big company. You got Wizards and Paizo that may be able to kind of weather these kind of storms successfully, and then some decent companies that are decent size and do pretty well and have good followings. Your Troll Lords and your Goodman Games and Frog Gods and these sorts of things. But it still hurts. It hurts, and so I want to get that idea. That's one way to do it. We'll do some streaming games and maybe try to have some pitches in between, like where you have a 20-minute where you can be Ron Popeil and get up there and talk about your game. I don't know if anyone remembers Ron Popeil.
Yeah.
Ronco stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
And pitch your games and maybe offer some flash discounts and things like that. So just how to invigorate and tie vendors in there and get people excited to check out their new stuff and keep these guys strong so that they can flow into convention season again, and we'll see all our friends at the dealer hall. Yeah, and also to give people another chance to learn their how to run their games on Fantasy Grounds or Tabletop or Vorpal board or whatever they're going to use in anticipation of GaryCon in March.
It's a challenge, and I know for us, we had to figure that out too. And we're fortunate that GrailCon's being sponsored by Troller Games and Reaper Miniatures, two great companies that sponsor this channel too. And we can talk if you want afterwards, but they have given up a whole bunch of giveaways during highlighted streams that we're going to be giving out as it goes as well. Very, very great companies. So I'd be more than happy to chat with you. What we've tried to do, because it is a challenge. It's a challenge to out there to get because the companies really it's what it's all about for a lot of it's their livelihoods, and we want to help them out as much as possible. Absolutely. So for
I'd say Trolls are obviously been friends with Steve since 2000 or 2001. So I know Steve and Davis and those guys all quite well, and they're fantastic. And having having product giveaways during your streams is a wonderful way to encourage people to participate. What I did at another event that I run independently, Founders and Legends, it's a streaming event, but I did a little virtual event with it as well in June. I raised money for Extra Life, and every time somebody got a critical hit, because we played primarily 5th edition, or actually it was a critical hit anytime. Anytime you got a 20, we rolled percentile dice, and we pitched in that much money to Extra Life, and that was a great way. Kept excitement, people to watch, and like, oh hey, here's how much money we raised. And another way you can do that is, I thought I've given out some free ideas here. When they defeat a monster and they search for treasure, you could have people discover, whatever discovered. That's where you can do some of your product giveaways is in loot there, and then you can have people answer a question in chat and award the prize that way, or the treasure. I think getting people to be interactive is a good way.
Well, you're going to see some interactivity during our game, because we have a hero point system where the crowd can cheer and even give me, that is the DM, anti-hero points to use against the players.
Fantastic!
It'll be a fun time, and I guarantee you there'll be a lot of participation. It's Twitch. You gotta figure this out. How the crowd and I want to say thank you all for the great community support tonight. But without us, without you guys watching and the community for Grail coming up, we wouldn't be on. So thank you, and thank you for that geek for that hero point already for Thursday. See, we got people actually doing that now as we speak. All
right.
Question for you, and we have Anna and I have set up an event for Autumn Revel at this time slot. We're going to take our Gabbin show, and we're going to do a seminar on the Greyhawk community and its vibrant virtual community. So that's already in. I put that in already. So
thank you.
You're welcome. And we're going to try and get some special guests. Right now, it's myself, Anna, and Len committed, and we're going to. I'm going to ask and see.
We will probably see if we can have like 3 or 4 other.
Yeah, absolutely, and talk about the community. Absolutely, which is growing. A lot of people, Luke, don't realize that we have more and more channels that are running Greyhawk content now. And we had a question earlier, and I know the WotC Hasbro thing's really, is very difficult.
Yes.
But what do you see for a future, or do you just see it into the sunset? What do you think?
For Greyhawk, as far as like a Greyhawk 5th edition, I had talked to Mike Merles at Wizards, and I think he's a fan of Greyhawk. Personally, I think there might have been some interest, but I don't think it had any traction. So I don't think you'll see a Greyhawk relaunch in 5th edition at this point. So I think it's going to be, it's going to be like you said, a vibrant fan community that supports Greyhawk going forward. Who knows what the future could hold, or if there's a change, big change up in leadership and that sort of stuff. Would Greyhawk possibly come back? Sure, it's possible, but I don't see that on anytime on the near term.
Yeah, I agree.
And a lot of people say it's either a good thing or a bad thing, but there's so much content.
There is, but I found that no matter what you do, when you're creating something, someone's going to hate it and someone's going to love it, and the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, right? So that's okay. And I think having people talking about Greyhawk and discovering the rich pantheon and the worlds and the storylines would be really neat. I think that would be I think that would be a net positive. And I'm sure there'd be stuff that we would all, various people would object to, depending on who you are. There might be some things that were favorite to you or that you liked that were changed or whatever, and you wouldn't like it. So you did good with the bad, just like the relaunch of a beloved series or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
A complete reboot of Spider-Man for the 4th time or something.
Like how many Spider-Mans are we going to see? I'll be honest with you, the whatever Into the Spider-Verse, whatever that one was, that was pretty darn good. I enjoyed it. So, and I didn't think I would.
So, Luke, I went through some of your Gygax magazines, and I just wanted to ask you about a couple articles, if that's okay. In Gygax #1, you did Bridging Generations. I kind of really liked that article. If you remember a little bit about that, if you want to discuss that.
Actually, I don't remember that much about it.
Okay.
If I remember right, it was talking about the storytelling tradition, how much I enjoyed, if it's not this, then it's an article I should write. But my dad used to tell us stories, and I just remembered kind of that discovery as a kid that the way your imagination lights up and the way he'd put these stories together, it was really cool. And even when he would read us, he read us The Finzer Family, which I think was that Gardner Fox who wrote that, if I remember correctly. And it was in Dragon magazine. And just, when you read those stories to us or make up stories out of whole cloth, just, it was so awesome to have that time fenced off with my dad. He was a busy guy too, right? He had many things going on. And to be able to share that time with him was great. And a lot of my time with my father was through doing the hobby of gaming, which was also, his work too, right? Yeah. So I got to spend a whole lot of time with my father by gaming. And I grew to love that because I enjoyed spending time with my father, as I think just about all children do, right? When he was a shoe repairman, I would spend time in his shoe repair shop. I was like 3 and 4, and he gave me my own special. I had my own apron that he'd made, and he gave me a special set of tools because he would cut leather and do all that sort of stuff. So he had this, leather knife, very, very sharp, right? So I had my special set of tools that he dulled down to dull as a butter knife, so I didn't cut off any of my fingers and that sort of stuff. So I still have them, but it's just and now having my children and being able to introduce them to games, and I get to relive some of those memories of what I did with my father and my brothers and sisters growing up. I get to share that with them, and it's just a really wonderful way to rediscover your childhood, which I think many other people do. I've talked to several folks at GaryCon, and gosh, it's been going on so long now that these young kids are now in college and married and that sort of stuff, but their fathers started bringing them to GaryCon and introducing them to role playing at the age of 12, 13, that sort of stuff. And they oftentimes their story was they came back to it because they wanted to introduce their kids to it because they remember how special it was to them at that age and how this. But they also get to rediscover their childhood, so they're enjoying it again. Their kids are enjoying it. They're building their strength of their family and passing on that tradition. So I think that's what engendered me writing that article, gosh, 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, for in Gygax #1,
Yeah.
absolutely. Jason has a good follow-up to that. Have you thought about writing an autobiography and or biography of your father off of
Yeah,
that?
I thought about it. Yes, I actually have. My mother recorded a lot of material for me. I sent her like a little, voice recorder, and just had her spend hours, as thoughts came up to her, that she would tell neat family stories and that sort of stuff. I would be, hopefully someday, knock on wood, we'll see a biopic come out, and that would be a great way to, get my father's story out to a larger audience, because, for those of you who are familiar, those of you who may have read Empire of Imagination by Mike Whitwer, it's a pretty cool story. It's a rise of, every man was Gary Gygax. He was a high school dropout. He was a kind of a rebel. He wasn't understood. And here, he took this love of gaming, and through a series of events and kind of being exposed to the right people through his hard work and in his this hobby, this very small hobby that he loved, he came up with this idea of Dungeons and Dragons, which rocketed to fame. And then there was a lot of trials and tribulations, and he was an insurance underwriter who became a shoe repairman. He had 5 kids. We were very poor. Suddenly he got money. He was thrust into this business role due to the passing of his best friend Don Kay. The company ownership went to a couple people, Brian Bloom and Kevin Bloom, through their father, Melvin Bloom. And so my dad wasn't the controlling interest in it at that time, because he had to buy out Don Kay's widow. And that is foreshadowing of the problems they'd have down the road with Lorraine Williams taking the company, and my dad losing everything that he'd built and worked so hard for. And then to see him kind of move into another phase where he kind of went back to where his roots were, which was, he wasn't making millions of dollars, but he was talking to gamers throughout the community through, thank God for email and forums and that sort of stuff that came into being. And he would daily be engaging with gamers. He would be mentoring young creators, which is something that he enjoyed all his life. He was always mentoring people and helping them along. I'm sure Jim Ward talked about how, Jim wanted to have a science fiction role-playing game, a science fiction version of D&D. And my dad said, great, you'd be the perfect person to write it, and encouraged him to do it. And kind of same thing with Harold Johnson way back when. Harold came up and complained to him about something in the D&D Open tournament at Gen Con back, it was very small. And my dad said, okay, what are your ideas to make it better? And he's like, well, I think you could do this, this, and this. And he's like, great, tomorrow you can do those things. and he got pressed into service and then ended up working for TSR and doing those sorts of things. So, so my dad kind of went through this cycle, I guess like a hero's journey, right? And
built it from the ground. He built the base around him.
Yeah. And then, he, sure, he's gone, but look at this wonderful, wonderful legacy that's his influenced. It's not just something that's fun. Dungeons and Dragons has been so influential in many realms of people's lives. It's done much more than I think he ever thought that it would when he made this game to have a good time, right? But it's done, it's been so useful and so helpful to people, and taught and developed skill sets.
Yeah,
really
it kind of influenced video gaming, fantasy storytelling
Movies.
In general. People
Everything.
that they use terms and ideas and concepts from D&D, but they never even heard of D&D, and it's kind of, and now you can tell Hollywood and other industries are full of people that played D&D and grew up with it, and they're taking ideas and concept into it, and it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, there's a story to be told there. And yes, I'm so busy with doing my own things that I just haven't, I don't have the bandwidth to do that. It's a lot of work to do all these things. And I would like to see them done, but it's one of the things being raised as with your dad, who is, I don't know, he's famous, but he's famous in some circles, right? But he was certainly an important name. So for a child growing up with a famous father or well-known father, prominent father, sometimes you have to strike out and make your own way or make your own person. And I did that a whole bunch, and the Army was a perfect way to do that because it's very defined, it's a clear-cut thing. And I enjoyed gaming, but it was it's how I defined who I was, and I really got back into, or I kind of came back to the creative side, got involved in the creative side, and through running GaryCon and remembering what my father had wanted me to do, which was work on adventures with him and do those sorts of things. We did that a little bit with Gaxmore, but then he passed away not too long after that, after it was out. And so it was in GaryCon I started writing a module every year just for the tournament, just as a way to pay honor to my father. And so someday maybe I'll develop those into something else.
I have those.
There's no time.
Yeah, I have those up. Now, did you?
yeah.
I have GC4 Harbinger. Did you do 1, 2, and 3 as well with Chris Clark and Turbo?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were going back to number 1, but yeah. Okay. I know that number 7, the Horde, is still up for sale. Correct, on the GaryCon site. So there you go. That one is.
Yeah, and I'm getting those put into PDF since we're doing so much ethereal gaming and that sort of thing. I figure people, I can make it available on PDF as well.
That's a great idea.
I really just would print like 100 or 200 copies of those and just sell them at GaryCon, and that's it. So, but yeah, they're just fun little tournament modules. The Horde was a lot of fun, and then the Trouble at Loch Geneva, which I wrote with Jeff Talanian, is also a lot of fun. I think we might be sold out of that one. I'm not sure. But I have that one in PDF too. I just got to get it up.
I guarantee, that would be a great. I would love to download all those. The Horde is the only one that right now I think is available in actual print copy. So get it while you can, everyone. Absolutely. So Gaxmore sounds very successful, and I'm not sure if you hopped on and heard this, but Troller Games is giving away 4 giveaways tonight: a hardbound Gaxmore, hardbound under cabins of Gaxmore, and then 2 digital copies. So we'll do those drawings at the end of the night, and we're really appreciative of Troller Games doing that. But you want to talk a little bit about Gaxmore?
Gaxmore was a lot of fun. So that is an old adventure that my brother Ernie and I created in probably like '99. I was its 3rd edition had come out, and my brother was working for Margaret Weiss at the Game Guild in Lake Geneva, and she wanted him. He was running his hobby shop dungeon, but that was all 1st edition. She's like, "Well, you need to run a 3rd edition. That's the new stuff, so we can sell that." And he's like, "Oh man, I don't want to learn 3rd edition." So he talked to me, and I was like, "Okay, I'll run it, and I'll put in the rules or whatever, and you can we'll come up with the ideas." So Ernie and I wrote the Lost City of Gaxmore and ran it for, I would DM that for anywhere between 8 and 24 people who would show up on Saturdays at the Game Guild to play. And it was 3rd edition, so it was pretty crunchy. So those combats were tough, but it's a giant sandbox, and it's full of a lot of flavor. So it's kind of like the 7 Samurai or whatever kind of feel. So the idea is this: there was an ancient empire, kind of like the Roman Empire. Long ago, it was collapsing. The city of Gaxmore was, a favorite of Ernst Gregaria, who is a god of travel and mirth and that sort of stuff. And he pulled Gaxmore out of the prime material plane into a pocket dimension until it was safe again. And to do that, he used a very powerful magic item that he carried, his staff. Kind of like the Lost, the Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they have to get the staff, and there's a little So it's kind of like a room like that at the end, and that's what pulled the Gaxmore out. And so whatever it is, 75 years have passed in Gaxmore, whatever the case may be, but it's been 2,000 years in the prime material plane. Time ran differently. But some evil forces, Cambion and a witch, want the staff of Ernst Gregaria, and so they figured out how to pull Gaxmore back into the real world and attack it with a assembled force of evil humanoids of various types. So of course they've sacked the city, and the leaders are in the center of the city looking for the powerful staff that is hidden away. But as in any chaotic army, they've split up into little factions, and there's little infighting and that sort of stuff going on. And that's the players get introduced to the city and kind of discover what's happened there. What's a strange city? There's some survivors. There's all sorts of neat buildings. There's a great graveyard and crypt. There's new creatures. There's all sorts of neat new magic items and stuff like that. And you can play. I think when we first wrote it, we said you could play from 1st level to 10th level in Gygax pretty easily, and that was true. There's hundreds of hours of gaming in there, and there's lots of opportunity for you to weave all sorts of different storylines using the various factions that we have there, as well as in the surroundings. So you can, it's like a giant dungeon crawl, but set in in a city environment where the outer areas is your lower level, and as you get inside, it's your higher level. So we rebooted that for 5th edition because we figured Steve over at Trolls, he said that's one of his consistent, steady sellers through all these years. People have really enjoyed that, and so I said, okay, well let's put it in 5th edition. Let's see how it did, and boy, oh boy, did we have a wonderful reception. So I was blown away. It did quite well, and I think it'll bring lots of joy to people. It's definitely been given even more content. We had, I don't know, it was like a dozen or more people contribute encounters, magic items, new creatures, and things like that. So I even wrote a new addition to it, which I think will be a lot of fun. I don't want to spoil it.
Is that something new? Because Josh Pop keeps on saying, tell him to say what's the new stuff coming out, because that's Josh.
Yeah. No, so there's new stuff. We have the new stuff is I wrote something in there. I know.
Awesome.
There's some characters. A character was introduced by Joe Manganiello. Bill Webb. Bill Webb wrote a little encounter with a neat little kind of puzzle and a way to enter into one of his worlds. So there's some neat little flourishes in there as well as we added fun things like naming streets, naming drinks, people having new characters in there. All the under caverns are rolled up in there into one resource as well. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it will play well as a 5th edition game. I think it could be a lot of fun to do it. And again, I don't want to give no spoiler alerts on mine,
no problem.
but I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be greatly enjoyed. It'll be very enjoyable for the DM, and it will tell you, and it will give you a definitive answer on whether I'm a storytelling guy or a competitive DM.
Yeah.
Do you have a rough release date?
It should be no later than the end of this year. I know there were a few delays. COVID obviously didn't help anyone with this, but I think he's November, I think. If I remember right, was the last one I talked to Steve. He said it should be like November-ish.
Fantastic.
Hey, yeah.
The Gaxmores we're giving out are Castles and Crusades, which is old school too. So it was all converted back to old school as well. Which is really an awesome thing that you have your choice of old school or 5e with these publications, which is a really nice thing. John D asks, did you have any experience with Vigsburg and Castle Zaga books from Troller Games? Did I think your dad published that a little bit. Is that a
I have them, but it's really a rewrite of
Greyhawk City.
Of Castle Greyhawk. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with it.
Okay.
A little bit, but my dad didn't let us read through those as players. So all my notes and stuff are from play. He guarded his binder. He guarded his binder like any good DM does.
Didn't want to get the secrets out.
That's right. He didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gary Con, I know there's rumblings out there for 1,500. What you unlimited at.
That's right. Yeah. So just looking at things, we're figuring, okay, what could we do? We looked at the number of tables. If we spaced things out to give, at least, about a 6-foot distance between tables. Now, of course, we're going to limit seating at tables. So I think we're going to go with six players maximum no larger than that, so you can get some space. But you still have to wear you still have to wear a mask at all times, and we'll have hand sanitizer and request that people, provide them some spray cleaner to wipe down their things. And we're working on how we're gonna do eating areas, because a lot of things have to change. We can't do one of the really nice things at GaryCon is the tableside service. You can get a sandwich and beverage right there at the table, so you can focus on gaming, right? And it comes right to you, reasonably priced. We do a DM concierge where we come around to our DMs, hardworking DMs, and give them a choice of a water or a soda and a chips or a Snickers or whatever they want to kind of say thank you and make their it's hard work DMing, right? You need some water sometimes. You have a chance to get up and go get it. So those sorts of things we can't do in this environment. So we have to make some changes. But 1,500 people is about half of the capacity of the area. We think we can do that comfortably and well, and we just got to get badges up for sale, badge packages up for sale to Material GaryCon after Autumn Revel.
Right.
So I want to get through Autumn Revel. I want to pre-offer. We're going to offer badges to everyone who came to GaryCon. Everyone who had a badge for GaryCon 12 will get first bite at the apple, so to speak.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, because I figured, hey, those people, they were very understanding. COVID was so new at that point in time.
Yeah.
I understand that a lot of people were upset. Like, hey, why are you canceling this event? It's like, well, the governor says don't do it. We kind of have to cancel it. And there was, running a business, it's expensive, right? So we didn't have the capability to refund everybody all their money, because it's spent throughout the year to keep the operations running, just like any other business. So we're going to offer some discounts to everyone who had a badge from last year, give them first opportunity. This year we'll include some merchandise with badges, so that no matter what, you'll have physical access, you'll have merchandise, and be able to attend any GaryCon event, whether it's in person or virtual. And then of course we'll have virtual only badges as well. And I think it'll be largely the same in spirit. We'll just have to take our precautions like we do now to go to the grocery store or do any other things that we're doing, right? So
it's good. It's a lot of planning. I understand it's a lot, and I know Skip Williams said he's got to get really cracking on it, right? A lot to do.
Well, what makes it even worse is that there's so many unknowns, right? And so,
true.
So is flu season gonna make COVID worse, right? Are we gonna see a second wave? Yeah. Right. Is that gonna happen? Are we gonna get a vaccine? And should it be just normal, right? It'll be fine by then. What does what's the government? What are the government guidelines going to be like? What is the hotel policies going to be like? What's the responsible things to do? What's the contractual things that we're obligated to do? And then simply from a planning perspective, gosh, my schedule has been pretty insane since March. Been about 100 miles an hour, so there hasn't been any break. So it's just, honestly, with juggling all this stuff, it's a real grind. I mean, I don't want to be complaining or whatever, but sometimes it's like, geez, I really do just want to sit down and play a game of Shogun with my kids.
Yeah.
Sit down and relax and enjoy things.
Yeah. When I'm done tonight, I gotta get cracking on some things for Autumn Revel. So that's what's on my agenda.
Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. It's awesome.
Really, absolutely. Yeah. Autumn Revel you already have well over 40 events, which is fantastic. Yeah. I saw, and so you have a lot of great participation. And Josh put something in chat. I wanted to say that the negative of GaryCon was turned into a positive, because I think that virtual con, I did 5 events for Gary, actually 6, because I did Stefan's that 7-8 hour game he had. I was like, oh my god, that night. it turned and it changed the standard, I think, for what people thought of how to run cons. And Casey and Jimmy Duffy and all the
Yes.
tech crew really stepped up.
They sure did, and I
Yeah.
tell you what, I will just say the thing I did right was when Matt Casey Rift said, hey, I want to come do some virtual stuff at GaryCon. The smart thing I did was say, yeah, okay, sure. You want to come and do that? That's fine. I wasn't a big believer, and I was like, but why not? Sure, run some events. And so he did that at GaryCon 11. And so for GaryCon 12 in 2020, he had maybe like 100 people or something like that were interested in a few dozen events. And then we had to, cancel the physical version of it. The mad rush of people who jumped on board to make virtual GaryCon a success was amazing. So I said, hey, let's pivot this. Let's pivot this let's not cancel. Let's pivot it to a virtual event. And everybody got on board and made it happen. We had, I think it was 2,000 participants and 600 events.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone else, well, Gen Con's probably done that.
Oh, yeah,
but other than that, that's it. So it was amazing. And you're right. I think that through the great love and the passion of the GaryCon attendees, that set a standard for other conventions to go, oh, okay, we could do this.
Luke, let's be honest, that was in 3 weeks too. It was a crunch.
You did it
it was like crazy.
Yeah, you didn't have
insane.
6 months to plan it. It was like a few weeks, and
Yeah.
while you kind of had to cancel and do all the work of canceling the physical convention, you set up and planned and executed a virtual convention. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and as much as I would like to take credit for that personally, I have to say that it was a very hardworking and supportive staff of people behind the scenes, like your Skip Williams, your Dave Conants, your Casey Riffs, your Jimmys, all those guys, Carolyn Burks. They were busting their butt and working around the clock. I was already getting geared up for the COVID response in California, so a lot of times I was like shooting them a text or doing a phone call and saying, were you guys able to do this? What's the status of that? And they did it. So, I mean, it was really everyone pulling together, the community backing us, and all these folks who volunteer every year to make GaryCon happen, making it happen. So it stinks that it happened, but as far as it goes, that's like the best outcome I could have hoped for under those circumstances.
Luke, let me tell you something. I would have never thought of doing this Greyhawk Con without what happened then. And so we turned a negative into a positive. And I think for the Greyhawk community, we're having a lot of fun with this. I was hoping for like 40 events, and we got like 60 some, and
that's great.
Yeah, and like 107. We're over 175 signups for it now, and it's exciting. Highlighted streams for 3 days, all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 12 Twitch channels are participating.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going very well with real, with Troller Games and Reaper sponsoring it. So I'm really excited, and people are looking forward to. We have it set so we put all the highlighted streams as signups into the events, so people can it'll go on their schedule so they can know when there's something to watch, something to play. And a lot of people are looking forward to watching you play, you and Anna and Eric Mona, Gary Julian, and Steven Schnall and Chuck. It'll be that'll be
a great game.
Definitely,
I'm looking forward to playing.
Definitely a fun, exciting time. So I know you want to get home to your family. We don't want to keep you too long. But would you like to say something in closing? Thank you. We really appreciate you coming on tonight.
No, I'm just. What a wonderful legacy that's been my honor to help carry on. The amazing support that people have shown me in the Greyhawk community. In general, gamers in general are good people, and I've been the beneficiary of a lot of help from a lot of people who've made GaryCon into what it is, who are kind enough to help me put together streams or virtual events, and it's really neat. I mean, it's become I don't know, it's some of it's a lot of work, but the reward to see so much joy brought to the world, and to hear the stories from people about what it means to them makes it really worthwhile and satisfying. And so thank you, everybody who's watching. Thank you to, I don't know the guys at Reaper yet. Maybe someday I will, but I know the guys at Trolls are good folks, and I look forward to gaming with Steve. And in fact, I'm probably going to shoot him an email after this and talk to him about Autumn Rebel. So
that's fantastic. One last question. I promised Balfrin, another one of your our tech team. He said, "Did you ever consider turning into like Roll20 your GaryCon modules? Maybe putting that into VTT?"
I you know what? Have I considered it? No, simply because I don't use those, so I'm not familiar with them. But that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would.
Yeah, Roll20 Fantasy Grounds.
What a cool way to, like, hey, you signed up for whatever badge. Guess what? Here's this, not just the PDF, but here's the maps and everything, all the whatever the all packaged for whatever virtual tabletop. So I don't know how much work that is. So it'd probably take time and resources to do, but that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah,
I think there's some people that would help you with, especially with Roll20 since it's
there's
free.
Some
I think
specials. There's some specialists both for Fantasy Grounds and Roll20 that can see if they can do it. So yeah.
According to Josh, Luke, you can reach Balfrin on your new Discord server now. He's setting it up as we speak, so it looks like you'll have an Autumn Revel one. Josh will be set up there. So very shortly. That's great. And we have I'm going to link this. Hopefully this works. There's a Virtual Greyhawk Con Discord for help for this con coming up. We have a mix of Twitch, virtual, just Discord, just Zoom or Skype or whatever, and people are getting together, and that's the great thing with both cons.
I think one of the things that will help is that a lot of us are, I don't know, I'm still new, and so for me, it's always more comfortable if I think it'd be nice to have some tutorials, and then just put those, sure, hold them live for an event, but then make them available on YouTube or in that way it'll walk you through. Here's how you get to Discord. Here's how like the very basics. So let's say you've been a holdout, you don't know what you're doing, but all these cool conventions are happening. You want to get your game on. How do you do it? But you don't know anyone who's doing it, or you're shy. Clicking through a YouTube and getting that basics that'd probably be pretty nice. I know some people did it at other conventions, like a beginner's guide to Fantasy 20. Like you just do like a bar brawl or something like that. Like Mark Clover did that. But that might be nice to.
Mark's been on all night saying hello, so he's been on. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was great. That was the only time I did Roll D20 is Mark's game. So I got an idea like, oh, okay, I kind of get this. It's not too hard. But the first couple of minutes I was kind of fumbling around. But if you could get that little leg up, maybe it would encourage some of your holdouts to join in and be able to have some fun virtually and discover a way that they can reconnect with the guys that they played in their high school game with, right? And maybe 20 years ago, and get the band back together, right? Isn't that a neat thing out of virtual tabletop?
Absolutely.
Your buddies, no matter where they are. No.
Mark just said he beat up a halfling in a breastplate.
I did.
That's the thing with the technology that we have nowadays, is that is possible. It's just a matter of the know-how, and I think the cons are helping people, and the tech team is once again vital, and they're doing a great job helping out everyone. And the Discord was a revelation.
So I said Belfrin's great. Josh Pop, I'm not so sure about.
Yeah, well, Len and Josh, Len always warns Josh about over editing, right, Josh? So Len knocks him down a peg or two every week. Yeah. So that's always a good thing. All right, so you guys want to do these giveaways real quick? Luke, if you have to go, it's okay. We're just going to run through these, get these in real fast here. See who wins these fantastic Gaxmore giveaways from Troller Games. Luke and Troller Games, and I thank you for all your participation tonight. Let's just do these. How about that? Sound good? Okay. All righty. Here we go. All right, so this for the Gaxmore, we're going to do the Gaxmore Under Caverns first. Okay, get in, subscriber, we'll win. I got the list here, and we'll see who. I got all these new added on today. I got like 25 new subs today. It's like crazy. So here we go. But we're in the 45. A local guy to where I live. Is Antiquitous on? Antiquitous 2004. He's not on tonight, is he? Yes, he is. Antiquitous, you got it.
A quick story for that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I did Gaxmore, my dad and I talked about like, oh, what would be the follow-on to it, and we jotted down some notes. And then I can't remember even when I wrote that, but it was 5-6 years ago. I think 5 years ago. But when I wrote that, I pulled out those notes, and so that was kind of my dad's, and I brainstormed and I fleshed out those notes.
So that must be a good feeling to know that you had stuff from years ago, and that's a wonderful. I don't want to ruin anything, but Stephen Chenault has actually come up, is amenable to something by Mr. Lakofka down the road, so as well. So they're great people there, and they're really they love the old school, and
Sure.
just working with everyone. I'm honored that they are sponsoring here as well. So thank you, Chuck, if you're on. I don't think Steven's on, but Chuck may be lurking away. All right, this is for the hardback, okay? This is for the actual Gaxmore book. This will be the last sub, and then I'll close it out online, and we'll do the general signups. Look at that. Oh my gosh, 0-1. That's Brian Sublime. He's the only one. He's always one, and then Naz is always two. So there you go, Brian. Look at that. I know I saw you on. You better say. I just saw you say congrats. So you better say congrats here. Brian's actually DMing a game during Greyhawk Con as well. So I swear to God, Brian, I rolled 0-1. So there you go. All right. So yeah. All right, I'm going to close this out. Anyone else want to get in on these? These are going to be for digital copies of both. We'll do the Under Caverns first. All right, I'm going to close this out. Hopefully, I don't crash the stream like I always. No, I'm just kidding. Luke, there's so much stuff you got to do on Twitch. Let me tell you something. Oh my gosh, it's just crazy how many different things you got to do to get these things all to work here. Giveaways. Tell you what. Wait a minute. Oh, Brian, you want to give it back? Tell you what. All right, let me close out this other one. Keep the book and give it away during the Ranger game. All right, fair enough. So I'm going to be giving that, Brian, I'm going to be giving that book out during Virtual Greyhawk Con. That was real nice of you. All right, sounds good. Because Brian will be DMing his Ranger game. We'll give it out during Virtual Greyhawk Con. That was very kind of you, Brian. We'll give it out at that point. So there you go. All right, closing the entries. Here we go. Winner number 1 for the under Mount Gaxmore Underdark. Here we go. Canadian Ancient Gamer. Oh my gosh, you won again. Oh my gosh, you're luckiest Canadian ever. He just won a $75 gift certificate from Miniature Building Authority on Thursday. Canadian, there you go. All right, and now for the book. All right, I'm gonna draw one more. Canadian's a lucky gent. Here we go. Resume entries, and we're going to pick another winner. Second winner, Notorious GMD. Notorious, I thought I saw you on too. Luke, I want to say thank you. This is going to be a record crowd. This is going to beat Eric Mona's and Len Lakofka's original record of a 144 average. I think we're going to surpass that tonight, and thank you. You're probably going to average like 150 to 160. So really, so thank you so very much. Notorious, are you on there? Let me just go through the list and make sure he's in. If he's Notorious, is he's on. Okay. All righty. Congrats, everyone. Thank you. Lots going on. So if you have not signed up for Virtual Greyhawk Con and Autumn Revel, please sign up for both. There's going to be a ton of games at Autumn Revel. When is opening for the convention for signups?
I think it's 1 week before for the I'd have to look. I apologize. I don't have that handy. Casey was working that out. I told him. I think it's a week before the con, so the 2nd would be general, and then a week before that for the top tier.
Okay.
I
Excellent.
have to look. I have to look at the calendar. Sorry.
So that's only
No,
that's
no
only a
problem.
week and a half, 2 weeks then. For
It's like a week and a
Yeah.
half, 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So don't delay. Jump in there if you can, and join us. Have some fun. Help us test out how to support vendors. Watch. You can watch the streams regardless, but playing some games always fun.
May I ask the VIP badge? I purchased one. Will it be a Friday night meet and greet, or is that
Yeah,
okay.
I think we'll probably do some Friday night Zoom calls as well as a couple. I think the plan at this point, and I got to solidify that with Thomas Valley, who's helping me organize the Adventures League stuff. Also helps with Gary Kahn, great guy. Thomas is putting together a game with Paige Lightman, who's author and does some Adventures League stuff, as well as Ginny Loveday. I think we're going to make those games available to Celestial badges as well. I believe Peter Atkinson is going to do a game that he's going to stream on Greyhawk, and we'll probably stream those games too. And he's going to do a streaming game on the Gen Con channel, I think, with his World of Chaldea D&D game, which we'll probably make for Celestial badges. I'm not sure what day he wants to do that. And I may run a game. I just have to look and see how crazy my schedule is, but I'll probably run a game for Celestial badges as well. Maybe do another Greyhawk or World of my Blighted Land stuff for someone.
Cool. Yeah.
Look, I'd be more than happy if you need any assistance. Just let me know. I'm more than happy to assist anyway. I can
I need a lot of help, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and the community here is so nice and amenable to to really stepping up, and we've seen that, and that's why I love just what has happened. I guess last 18 months, Anna, you say?
Yeah.
The last 18 months has really been fantastic, as you've seen the
yeah.
resurgence.
Yeah.
You have the Earth Journal, you have bloggers, like 6 to 7 Greyhawk bloggers. Jimmy Duffy is now going to do a Greyhawk stream for Rise Up Against the Slave Lords. He's gonna show that on Virtual Greyhawk Con. He's gonna have it every week. It's an all-female cast too, and so it'll be a really nice game. So I think we have like 7 channels now that actually have Greyhawk content. And this time, a year ago, I know we had 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
So it's starting to really pick back up. So
Yeah.
all right, some other shout outs. I won't bore you with normal stuff. Just remember, Wednesday is our next stream, and we're going to have what are we going to have, Anna? My brain just froze there. Here it is. Secret Societies of Greyhawk will be the discussion on Wednesday. Then the game will be our game will be. Who's running the Slavers? Taco, Jimmy Duffy, Praetor's Rejects is running the Rise Up Against the Slavers. It is a highlighted stream. He's got his cast set. It's in Greyhawk Con, so you can sign up to watch it. We will raid. Luke, Anna, myself will raid into that. We'll still be going on when our main event goes Saturday night. It'll still be running, and we're going to raid into that stream. So, and that'll be that Saturday night, which is October 3rd. So, Secret Societies of Greyhawk, and then we finish our adventure that we're running with some unbelievable 3D prints that Bill has been doing on Thursday. Next week, we got another great guest. James Jacobs will be on next week. The week after, so I got the next 4 Gabbins are set. James Jacobs on in a week. 2 weeks, we're going to have a DMs roundtable with Greyhawk Reborn and a bunch of other virtual Greyhawk Con DMs. Then we're going to have the Ask the Expert show during Greyhawk Con with Leonard, Gary Julian, Alan Grohe, and Dennis Malden Tetro. And I think I'm going to ask one other person to join that crew. And then we'll have the show during Revel for the Greyhawk community. So we're booked up. So everyone, thank you. Luke, thank you. Leonard, thank you. I know it's been really difficult. Oh, there's my son. Come on in here. Come on in. He's a gamer, Luke.
All right.
He's a gamer, 10 years old.
Hey, young man.
There you go. What's your character's name? What level is he?
6th.
Level what?
6.
What class?
Fighter.
He's a 6th level fighter. Yep, absolutely.
Nice.
Cool.
So,
Yep.
I forgot what the name of that one is. Is that a Myrmidon?
Remember, it's close to that. Yeah, absolutely. And he fights longsword, and so. But we get all our sons together and we play, and it's been it's next generation. Got to do it, and and love that's the case. So, Luke, thank you for your service. I know,
Yeah, thank you so much.
police and the
Yeah.
military, much respect for that, and doing whatever you can to help us stay safe. And California, really needs
Especially,
it now.
yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
scary time out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's the biggest fires ever. 3.2 million acres, I think, have burned up, and that's a record, and it's very early in the season. So,
Yeah.
Stay safe out there, people.
Yep,
And have fun. Do your adventuring in the rolling D20s. That's where your danger can be.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're going to raid into Carlos Lysing, who's on a special Sunday night.
Hey!
So,
right.
I know Carlos ran an event for your daughters, and he
did.
talked. It was an awesome time. So I'm going to end the stream tonight. Thank you all for coming on. See you in a couple days, and see you in a couple weeks at Greyhawk Con as well. So let me hit the. I always hit the wrong
See you,
button.
Greyhawk Con.
See you. So Luke, thank you. We talk over all the ads. That's our shtick here, before and after. So we're gonna hang for a minute here. Let me set this raid up into Carlos is a great guy. Carlos ran wonderful person. He did 3 adventures for my campaign specifically about a year ago, and they were fantastic. And I know, how I knew they were fantastic. One of my players, Alan, hated them, so I knew they were great. So, definitely setting up the raid.
Yep.
See how many we get here. Nice. Beautiful. Alrighty. Heading in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you Wednesday night, everyone.
See you later.
Awesome.
So perfect.
Make sure this work. That was awesome.
Yeah. That was.
I didn't want to keep Luke late. He was kind enough to come on with working.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That was. Yeah, but it was fantastic. I think he was very relaxed. It must be tough to hold the phone for like 2 hours.
See you all Wednesday.